A very warm welcome to everyone watching from around the world to the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. As we look at some beautiful shots of Xiamen City, this is the place where the entire marathon calendar for the year starts off here on this beautiful coastal city of Xiamen. As we look at some of those coastal shots now from the helicopter. A very important marathon for the marathon calendar because it is the first one of the year, but of course a very special marathon for all the Chinese runners and of course for China itself, because this has been dubbed as one of the world's most beautiful marathon courses, and I think you can see right now from the helicopter exactly why it is so. Thousands of runners turn up here every January. Of course, a very happy new year to everyone watching. It is still January the 6th, so early enough to say that. Hope you guys had a great holiday, and we have, of course, a great race set up for this morning. It's just gone past 7:20 local time here in China. My name is Jeevan Salvanathan. I'll be taking you through the next 3 hours where, as I said, we'll be looking at the race story from this first IAAF Gold Label race of the year. A lot of interesting runners that have turned up here today. They're going to be from the 5 nations of Kenya, Ethiopia, the Netherlands, Japan, and China. They make up our elite runners, but of course some 35,000 runners will be taking part today, and they're all going to be starting from the Xiamen International Convention and Exhibition Center. We'll be looking through the map, of course, and plenty of stuff to look at over the next 3 hours. This marathon is going to be a good benchmark for a lot of these runners as to how they deal with the rest of the calendar. And as you can see, there are pretty good weather conditions so far. It was forecasted for about 14 to 15 degrees. We'll get you the exact weather conditions as they come in. But this is good running conditions for any marathon runner. And as I said, on such a beautiful course as well. Well, if you've never been to Xiamen, then you are going to see some of the beautiful parts of it. Actually, look at that. That's the field of runners all ready to go off in 3 waves. Unbelievable turnout as it is every year. That is the Xiamen International Convention and Exhibition Center that will serve as the start and finish line. And look at those runners. All hydrated. Have all put in their preparations. And all ready to go in just under 2 minutes from now. And it should be 3 waves that we've seen. A lot of firsts that will be happening this year for the Xiamen International Marathon. We'll be getting into those once the runners get underway. There's a very big year for the IAAF, and of course a very big year for the individual runners as well, after that fantastic world record that was set by Eliud Kipchoge in Berlin in September, 2:01:39. It is the fastest time that we've ever seen. And will we see times like that today? Well, I can tell you now that the last year's time was around about 2:11, but that was a rain-plagued Xiamen Marathon, and that was won by the Ethiopian Dejana Dibela, who's also running today. He'll be up right at the front, but he's going to be under some very serious competition from the likes of Eliud Kiptanui, Baziwoku, and Peter Somé. Peter Somé and Kiptanui, of course, both from Kenya, looking to bring back some glory to Kenya. So just about at the start line now. Here we go. 2019 Xiamen Marathon. There's another fantastic shot of the turnout. 35,000 people outside the convention center. And the guns fire, and the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon is underway. First wave of runners already hitting the track. As I said, there'll be 3 waves that will be released, I should say. And here they are, taking the first turn. In terms of design, it's a pretty simple course. We'll be looking at that in just a second. But already, as you can see, the elites breaking off just within the first 2 kilometers, and behind them an army of marathon runners. They could be amateur, They may have run a few marathons before, plenty of marathons in China to run, of course, some 300 a year, in fact. They all march past that blue arch, which is the start line. Great shot from the helicopter once again. That heli is going to be keeping us abreast of everything that's going to be happening over the next 3 hours. As you'd expect with an IAAF gold label race, the organization and structure of it absolutely perfect. Roughly 20 minutes after each wave will be the cutoff time. But water and sponges, whatever level of runner you are, and as you can see, a lot of these runners are here just for the special day out, because over the last 16 years now, the Xiamen Marathon has been running since 2003. It has turned into a very happy, fun, and family day out. Look into the elites, men's, as they come around the corner into the first kilometer. That's Huishan Road. And already we can see them breaking off. Good running form showed by all of them. Marathon running, very special technique. Essentially, you just fall forward and let your body do the rest of the work, but it is important to keep your airways clean, keep your head up, keep a good, strong, steady pose, as that keeps the air into your body. And then, as I said, you just make sure that your arms are swinging in a nice pivot, just like as we can see from the elites here. Just a nice gentle rhythm. Those two paces up at the front. Just there, as you always see at marathons, to do exactly that, to set the pace. Behind them, a legion of marathon runners. There are, of course, great rewards for the elites. I can tell you now, as we get into the first couple of kilometers, that the second wave start will be in roughly 11 minutes from now. First wave was at 7:30. Second wave scheduled for 7:45. It's just now turned, it's just gone past 7:30 now. And the third wave is set for 8 o'clock. And that's how you marshal this amount of people running on this course. Won't stay that packed together for too long, I can tell you that. Another fantastic shot from the heli. And there is, of course, huge rewards for winning the Xiamen Marathon. I think it's around about $45,000 US for the elite athletes. But if you do manage to break the world record, well, that's $1 million US if you can do it. Of course, that world record, extremely difficult to beat now, 2:01:39 from Eliud Kipchoge, and of course the previous record, 2:02:57 from Dennis Kimetto. Both of those runners look to be taking an extended New Year's holiday. We'll be seeing them in the latter part, or the later part of the marathon calendar, but they're going to be watching this wherever they are, just to see what kind of times get logged today at the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. As we get into 2 kilometers at 6 minutes, so a good pace being set by the elites right now. Roughly, you need to run 3 kilometers. Now let's have a look at the course map for the marathon today. All 3 waves of runners start at the Xiamen International Convention Exhibition Center. They head down Huishan Road, and at 2 kilometers join the South Island Ring Road that makes up the first 15 kilometers of the marathon. At 8 kilometers there, they pass the Zhengchuan fishing village and follow the coast as it curls back up. Kilometers 9 to 12 will take the runners past Xiamen University, then a slight kink in the route, and they will approach Yanwu Bridge by way of Daichu and Yanwu Road. Then it's still on the South Island Ring Road as they head up to the shopping district of Zhongshan Road. After that, the field will turn inland And at kilometers 17 to 20, they see another hydration stop before they make the U-turn there at Bailuzhou Road, where they go around the People's Hall. Then, that isn't the official turnaround. That happens 2 kilometers later, now back on West Cuban Road and down onto the Island Ring Road again. 31 kilometers, they pass the Hulishan Fort on the beach. At 34 kilometers, there's another hydration stop there. 34 kilometers, it is the Jinming Temple and the famous 99 marathon sculptures at 38 kilometers before making their way to the convention center once again that serves as both start and finish line today. Beautiful run on the coast. A lot of people would say it's a simple structure. It is, but when you have a coastline like this, golden coastline as it's known around here on this South Island Ring Road that the elites have now broken into. As I said, they're keeping a pretty good pace at the moment. And that's the rest of the field following them. And here is the elite athlete list. Eliud Kiptanui, Bazuwoku, and Peter Some, definitely 3 of the contenders to challenge the Jene Debele. A couple of other names in there as well. Jonah Kipkamoi, Peter Karukui, and Daniel Matai. And looking down there, you see the Japanese athletes, Asuka Tanaka, Shingo Igashiri. And looking at the women, well, Shasho Nsemu, Janet Rono, and Fantu Jima, definitely the favorites for this race. Let's see if the likes of Li Dan and Heiyin Li, some local homegrown athletes, can break into their dominance. And I said you can just check the time there, 8 minutes for around about 3 kilometers. Still a very good pace being set by the elites. And you can already see it, even at 2 kilometers in, that their running form and style is beginning to differentiate them and separate them from the rest of the pack. Marathon running really is a mental task. It's a mental test to keep your mind working, to keep your body converting that energy, and at its peak optimum level. But such a beautiful road. Xiamen City, famous for having these flat, wide roads, well taken care of. Great shot there from the heli to show that. It's a very good surface for these guys to be running on. This is actually a downhill section of the course, so a little bit easier for them. A lot of people think going downhill, well, it's probably going to help you. Well, it just means that there's different stress on different parts of the body. In this case, of course, the front of the knees is going to be feeling that. And you can just see from these guys, just trailing behind the elites, the difference in running form from you and me, the general runner, and these running machines, as I like to call them, who are the elites. Big salute to all the runners that have come out today. These guys have been registering and qualifying, and they've been up since about 4 o'clock this morning. And look at the gap now between the elites and the rest of them. Now, as we settle into the marathon, I'm going to try and identify exactly who's up there. That's Li Zisheng, personal best of 2:14.18. Not bad at all, seeing as how the last year's race was won with a 2:11. So Li's going to be looking to better that 2:14 if he can. Really good conditions for running right now. Very cooling, and they should be coming up to one of the hydration and refreshment spots in just about 700 meters from now. We say a big hi to some of these other guys. Good to see all these smiles on the faces. As I said, the Xiamen Marathon really has become a family fun day out for so many people. And this would be the second wave at the Xiamen International Convention and Exhibition Center. They're ready to go. And if you thought the first army looked good, well, how about that? That's another huge phalanx of runners. And there you go. Second wave just jump-started maybe a little bit. Second wave has started. Gotta wait for the gun. Mainly, of course, 3 waves to clear the route. And we'll have 35,000 people off on their own together. So very strategic start from the LOC to have these three waves. The three waves, of course, is one of the new things that's been happening this year. One of the other new things that's been happening this year is you can just see on the left of your screen, just there, is the blue line. And the blue line is the shortest distance of the marathon, especially around the corners. And if the elites especially keep to that blue line, then they will know, if they do, if they can, of course, and I keep saying that because it's very difficult to do. There is the blue line now going straight through your screen. Well, if they do keep to that, then they'll be assured of being on the shortest possible line through the course. That's something new for this year's Xiamen Marathon. Pretty much every year for the last 16 years, the local organizing committee has brought something new and advanced to the table. And there is a reason for that as well. And I think now that we're settling into the marathon, we can get into it. The IAAF this year has announced that there is a new level of racing that's going to be coming into effect in 2020, and that is, of course, platinum road races. Right now there's bronze, silver and gold. Each of those three, if you're new to road race labeling, then those three labels are based on various criteria that you need to acquire to become a gold label race. Now the Xiamen Marathon, of course, expertly taken care of. So many volunteers, so many great organizing and structuring protocols that have been put in for the race means it is always a gold label race. But this is one of the first races this year, being the first race of the year, that could now qualify for the platinum status. You can look up the platinum status on the net, but generally speaking, it's a far more global thing. It means that the elites will have a lot more nationalities in them, be broadcast to a lot more countries as well, and it's a very special honor to get from the IAAF and the Xiamen Marathon, one of the 60 gold label races every year that's going to be looking to get that status as soon as possible. And as we can see from the helicopter, how's that for organization? That's 35,000 people streaming out of the Xiamen International Convention Exhibition Center. Now, it looks like Daniel Matai has dropped off a bit. He's actually dropped off a great deal. That's him now in the middle of your screen. Asbel Kipsang in the blue, still looking very good up front. Daniel looking to catch up. As you can see, he's just changed his running style just in the middle of your screen. Maybe he had a slip step. It could have been a refreshment stop, I suppose. But he's definitely lost a lot of ground from being one of the early leaders. Now, no word yet from last year's winner and reigning champion, Dejene Debela. He finished with a 2:11.22 last year. That was in rain, of course, in the field and looking to better the event record, which was set in 2015 by Moses Mossop from Kenya, 2:06.19. So a very interesting story developing here because, as I said, the Ethiopians have been winning. 2017, 2018, that was men's and women's, Lemi Bahanu and Dejene Debela from Ethiopia taking the men's, and Worknesh Shidesa, Meseret Mengistu and Fatuma Sado taking it in the women's, all Ethiopian runners. So the Kenyans definitely looking to break back this year and take it back, but the event record still held by a Kenyan in the men's, and that's Moses Mossop with 2:06.19. Phenomenal time, and if we could see anything close to that today, we'd be very happy indeed. So it's 7:40 kilometers now. Here is this South Island ring road. And as you can see, that's a great shot of the gradient undulation that we're looking at. At 7.8 kilometers now, it's been pretty steady. We haven't seen the biggest inclines yet. It's going to be coming at about 11, 12, and 29 to 34 kilometers. So you can imagine how heavy that's going to be on the body. But right now, heading downhill pretty steeply. And when they get to about 15 kilometers, well, then we're going to look to cut back inland, as we saw from the course. There is a shot of that beautiful beach. They'll have another look at that when they come back, which will be down the other carriageway of that road. Now, let's have a look a bit closer at the elites. Yes, Daniel Matai still missing from that group, and Asbel Kipsang, there in the blue, still leading the pack in front of these two paces. And he picks up some refreshment at the 8 kilometer mark. interesting technique you need. You don't want to lose any time when you get to these refreshment stops. In your stride, you want to just pick it up, drink it, and throw away the cup. Still showing a good running form, strong running technique, Asbel. Now, there are, of course, many ways to look at a marathon. One of the best ways for the average runner, as I heard it, was there's actually 8 stages. There's the excitement of starting it. That's usually about the first 2 miles. And around about the 5th mile, you get into the second stage, which is denial, where you kind of get to terms with what's going on. And performances along the way, as you can see, not uncommon here in China to see these traditional performances set up by local troops and local performing artistes, not just for the elites as they run by, but also for all the spectators. One of the great things about Xiamen City and the Xiamen Marathon is that these wide roads, around about 44 to 60 meters across, mean it is actually great for the spectators to watch. There's the highest running Chinese athlete right now, Li Zicheng, 2:14.18, his personal best, and still looking like he's okay. And that looks like Yang Ding Hong, if I'm right. Yes, it looks like 50. Yes, it is. In fact, yes, it is. It's something else. 2:11.41, one of the fastest runners. Chinese field looking very good as well. I saw him run in Zhuzhou last year. Put in a very good run there. And you've got about 15 seconds before the guns fire. They're all ready. The gun fires, and what should be the final 10,000 get onto the course and make that little breakaway from the Xiamen International Convention Exhibition Center onto Huizan Road, and that'll take them up to the coastline, and they can join that South Island Ring Road. Rousing music being played, and there is that excitement stage I was talking about. Now, getting back to those stages, this is excitement, the first mile or so. Denial in the 5th mile, shock, isolation for the 3rd and 4th stages, despair, and of course the wall at 22 miles before affirmation and elation to hit the 26.2 miles. It is more of a mental test than anything. For these guys, of course, it's about a fun day out, a bit of exercise, start the year well. A good New Year's event to be taking part in every year since 2003. One of the most established marathons in China, if not the world. There you go. Elites, very similar style. Now this is a very interesting turn of events, as it looks like Asbel is still up front, but now is breaking away with a couple of other runners. And if I'm right, that is Dejane Debele in the blue on his right, should be. So, Dejane now showing his class, reigning champion of course, finished last year's event with a 2:11 in rain, so looking to cut into that. That was a full 5 minutes slower than the event record, so it's a lot of chance. You can just see in the trees there, good wind. So you can just see there the breakdown at 10 kilometers as to how far they are off the record. Not that far, but you'd be surprised what 17 seconds can do. 29 minutes 41, 32 for 10 kilometers. So still these elites running an incredible pace of roughly 3 minutes per kilometer. That's what you need if you're going to be up in the proper aspect. Now, I said this road, the South Island Ring Road, does take up or create most of the course, and coming up on their right side for these elites will be the famed Xiamen University. Amazing university, as it was As it's actually linked, it's more of an international university than anything else. It's actually linked to 236 other universities around the world. Phenomenal feat, with some 40,000 graduates coming through or studying there at the moment. We went through the campus yesterday, really beautiful place. There is Dong, now leading the Chinese athletes, Li Zisheng behind him. So we saw Dong racing last year. There's the campus, you can see just next to him, of Xiamen University. On the minds of some of the other runners. For the elites right now, going uphill, as you can see. A little bit of a strain still though. Aspel looking very good. Dejene on his right. And that looks like it's going to be the fight for the men's race today. 34 minutes in, and the other runners. Now that's a great shot just to see the difference in running style. That's the women's marathon and the men's marathon on the left, women's marathon on the right. Women's just passing 10 kilometers now. And we'll try and get you all. There you go. That's our first indication as to who is leading that pack. And that is Milian Ebongon. 2:27.16 her personal best. Milian has taken the lead. That's Chasso and Sermu, one of the favorites in there as well. So Chasso already making herself, showing 2:23.28 her best. So it looks like Milian and Chasso are currently leading the women's group. Dejene Debet, I can see just there in the blue, sitting behind the paces. Aspel still up front. And there are at the split times, Patrick Kipkigeno and Gilbert Masai, the other two runners in there. And it looks like there might be a tiny bit of rain. It's going to help the runners. You'd be surprised how much a little gust of wind and a little drizzle can help in terms of cooling the body down. Less hydration needed, but generally speaking, you should keep yourself extremely well hydrated if you are going to attempt any kind of run. And this is Yanwu Bridge here. Another one of the famous tourist attractions here in Xiamen. You can see why, because it has no support beams on top. It's a very flat bridge, which means you can almost feel like you're driving on the sea when you're on it. It's going to be a great view for these guys. Now, Dejene cutting into the inside. I think that's mainly just to deal with the gradient change downhill. 13 kilometers past. Quite a sight indeed. Now, I can't see any of these elite men's wearing those Vaporfly shoes. New shoe that was developed by Nike over the last 2 or 3 years, specifically meant to break the 2-hour. The Xiamen Marathon has generated some massive numbers over the last few years. In 2010 it was 50,000 runners, 2012 it was 73,000, 2014 is 77,000. But then after that it was cut into a more professional marathon, in really a full marathon distance, no half marathons or happy runs anymore. And getting 35,000 for a full marathon, men's and women's, is an amazing achievement. So, checking back in with the women. Still Milian and Chasso up front. Milian in the red, Chasso in the green. Chasso taking a quick little look over to see what Milian's doing. And I was witness for the Lanzhou Marathon and the Zhuzhou Marathon. Both of them saw great finishes as well. And now looking at the record times for the women. Well, currently about a minute under. So a lot of work to do there. Looking much closer in the men's for a record-breaking attempt today, maybe a national record. That is where we stand at 10 kilometers. Chasso in Sermu, Milian Nakta, Medina Tache, and Fantu is also another one of the favorite. So that pack has some potential in it as they go past those two famous Shimao towers. Great. And there is one of those traditional performances I was talking about. Not uncommon to see that at pretty much any China marathon that you do visit, but of course the big ones, Beijing, Shanghai, guaranteed. But Guangzhou, Zhuzhou, and all the other marathon cities or marathon runs in cities, it's not uncommon to see these traditional wushu performances or music performances. And there is a shot of Xiamen City. That's the Egret Islet Park. Xiamen itself is an island, and an interesting piece of trivia is white egrets flock here pretty much all year round, but that's why it's known as Egret Island. There's a lot of statues about egrets as well. We actually managed to see 2 or 3 flying around the lake yesterday. Beautiful birds. So across the bridge into Bailuzhou Road. Can be seen for this year's 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. There is a great shot of the loop that the runners will be running. They've just entered the premises now. Of course, the big question is whether in that second group of runners, Eliud Kiptanui and Bazuwoku Hela are running. They should be, based on their performance and form. But it doesn't look like they're going to be making the top 3 right now. There is the second group. Now back to the men's leading group as they've just broken 20 kilometers, coming up to the halfway mark. In previous years, this would be the end, or coming up to the end of the half marathon. As I said, since about 2015 or 2017, in fact 2015, I correct myself, 2015 it has been a full marathon only for the Xiamen Marathon. All of this criteria strictly regulated and marshaled towards that aim of becoming a platinum label road race as awarded by the IAAF. Truly global race. And I think it does look now that that second pack is getting closer, and it looks like, yes, Eliud Kiptanui is in there. So maybe we see negative split from him. Maybe we see him looking to pick up the pace for the second half of the race. You have to put these strategies in. If it's going to work, how you're going to run your race. And of course, once again, a big shout out to Bia in the green. There's Dong and Li Zicheng, the 2 highest placed Chinese runners. Still showing good running form and technique. Once again, if you've just joined us, wherever you are in the world, this is the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. About 1 hour in now, and looking at the split at 22 kilometers. Well, about 40 seconds off for the men now. Still doing very well. Look at the 10 kilometer and 15 kilometer splits. Just seconds off the record. But now at 20 kilometers, when that wall starts to hit and when that fatigue starts to come in, you can see those times incrementally decreasing and those differentials incrementally increasing. And that is the real test for these elite runners. They work in seconds and they work in incrementally building those seconds as well. And they're all showing very good running technique at the moment, very good running form. In fact, if I may even stick my neck out, as we said, here is the second part of the course, retracing the steps of the first part onto the South Island Ring Road again, past Yanwu Bridge, this time directly on the coast. And as they hit 31 kilometers, the Fulishan Fortress on the beach, Jinming Temple at 34, and then the unique 99 marathon sculptures at 38 kilometers before they make that U-turn again, and then it's a right turn into 42 kilometers. But here we go. This is the second half of the Xiamen Marathon 2019. And another beautiful performance. Well, 24 kilometers at 1 hour 13 minutes is still 3 minutes a kilometer. So this is looking good for at least the event record to be broken. As I said, you really need to be around 2.5, 2.47 a kilometer if you're going to hit the world record. And once again, $1 million to any marathon runner that can break that world record this year. Unbelievable. Hitting 25 kilometers now. Another shot of waterway just ahead of Gulangyu Island. That's Gulangyu Ferry. Roughly 6-7 minutes to get across to the island. I'll use the course. Really mild climate considering it is quite north. We're just 1.5 degrees away from the Tropic of Cancer, so definitely it's cool, but nothing too serious. There's Birhan and Dejane now. I'm just wondering as to where Aspel has gone. Aspel has, by the looks of it, hit the wall. Wow, this is big news. Too much for Aspel Kipsang in the end, and he looks like he's hit the wall and he's going to have to stop now. Well, that is bad news for Kenya. Aspel will not be taking part. Now, that is a classic example of hitting the wall. It's essentially where that VO2 max of where your body cannot convert anymore, and the energy stops flowing, and one muscle, mainly in the lower back, maybe in the calves, maybe even in the hamstrings, has... Well, based on current speeds, that leading pack should be coming through with possibly a 2:09, which would beat the 2:11 from last year, but won't beat the event record of 2:06. But that's based on current speeds. If these guys can, of course, incrementally increase their speed over the next 45 minutes, then they might be able to do it. But they've, as I said, going uphill now, quite steeply as well. Birhan, as you can see in the green vest, looking a little bit more haggard now. Dejane still looking very good. In all honesty, it was about 5 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes where that second group caught up with the first group, and now all of a sudden it's a much bigger group for the last 12 kilometers of the Xiamen Marathon 2019. That looks like Eliud Kipchoge just behind them. Oh. Well, as we watch this marathon evolve, still to come, we're going to be checking in with the women's and, of course, tracking this as well. Now that looks like the two leading Chinese runners. Li Zicheng still putting in a very good performance just behind Dong here. Jian, well respected and well-known runner. So Dejane Debele still up front here, but a lot of contenders now around him that might be able to make a sprint for it, because, as I said, they have run a slower first half and really picked up the pace in this second half. Now, looking into the women's, and I can see Shaso and Sermu still looking very good. Milia Nakta not so far seen in that pack. Looks like she may have dropped off. So Shaso and Sermu, now the clear leader in that pack, running with this bodyguards of male runners around them. Now another great shot of the Xiamen University. And that is actually a very special part of the Xiamen University. And looking at the split for those, that's actually the split for the women. Just a quick correction there. It looks like Chasso and Fantu still in the mix for that one. Well, his personal best is actually 2:09, 2:04. So if this marathon does conclude with a 2:09, then Birhan in the green top there, dark green top, might just be on for a personal best, which would be fantastic. Dejene, well, his personal best is a 2:07, so I don't think he's going to be. And that is the Sifit logo, an important statue in terms of business and trade here in Xiamen. And for these marathon runners, well, it's the first glimpse of the home straight, because they know now that they're getting very close to the end. Now remember, at the end of any marathon, it's not really a question of sprinting, it's a question of doing the best you can. You can't really suddenly push your body into a sprint from this running gait with the condition you're in, because you might just do yourself more damage. Another great shot of why this course is so well done. Well, looking back at the women now, definitely we can confirm now that Miriam Nakhtar has dropped off the wayside. Chasso and Semu still up front. Looks like ahead of her compatriot, and that should be the men's and women's. Women now at 32 kilometers, still 3 kilometers behind the men. So it should take them roughly another 10-11 minutes after the men finish to complete their marathon. Now we've seen some great finishes in China, of course, in Chinese marathons over the last year, and I wonder if we're going to see one now between these two. Many questions will be asked as to where Eliud Kiptanui, Basu Woku, Peter Kemeli Some were today. Now looking at the splits at 35 kilometers, well, as you can see, good 2 minutes off now. What used to be just 17 seconds at 10 kilometers has exaggerated to from 2 minutes 38 seconds. Now, the record is 2:06. I said that it could finish at a 2:09, and of course with 2:38 on top, that means that we're currently on for a 2:08, maybe a 2:09. So looking like it's going to be a 2:08, 2:09. That should be greatly helped by the fact there was no rain today. As I said, last year that man, number 4 in the blue vest, Dejene Debela, had to run through rain pretty much the entire race, ended up with a 2:11. Li Zicheng is now left, by the looks of it, Dongguo Zhen, and is now the leading Chinese runner. As you can imagine, when they're not running marathons, training, diet, and nutrition is pinpoint accurate for all these guys. Maybe they took it. And now we're getting to those marathon sculptures. That is one for the amateur runners. But as we start, you'll see more active poses from these 2-meter-high copper statues. Well, the Dejene Debela at the back there, the number 4 bib, looking a little bit more tired, but he has managed to push his way up to the front of this pack. I think he knows now that this is going to be the big push for him. Into the last 2 kilometers. Still looking good for a 2:09. Should be a fantastic finish. That'll be 2 minutes faster than last year's finish. Here they are. There'll be a little turnaround point here, and then it is onto that Puisan Road. There'll be a right onto South Puisan Road, and then there'll be another right into the Xiamen International Convention Exhibition Center. Here they come. That is the final turnaround for them. And as you can see from the clock, that doesn't look like it's going to be beaten. 2:06.19. But I think we are going to see Better than a 2:11.22 from the last marathon, 2017. It was Lemmy Bahanu with a 2:08.27. And 2016 was Vincent Kiprutu, also with a 2:10.18. That was the last time Kenya actually won this specific marathon. 2017, 2018 has just been all Ethiopian dominance, and it looks like that's going to continue at 2019. They've just passed 41 kilometers now. 2:06.19 is the current record. As you can see, the time is ticking down there. So no event record today. Moses Mossop can breathe a bit easily as it was close. But it does look now like we are going to get a very good time here, as predicted at the beginning of the race in the men's elites. Dejene has started to put the heat on. As you can see, he's just distancing himself from the pack. It looks like it's going to be a defending champion. There is the Xiamen International Convention and Exhibition Center. Now you can just see that Chela Dichasa is breaking off from the top three, and this has to be our top three now. Is it going to be 2 consecutive wins for Dejene Debela? Now he's really putting the power on. This is exactly what he did last year in the last kilometer of the race. Manages to find this well of energy and is almost sprinting to the line. That is a fantastic achievement from him. He makes the final turn. It's close enough. It's a 2:08.51. We're definitely going to be beating the record from last year. And he hasn't beaten his personal best of a 2:07, but we are going to be finishing, as I predicted, in a 2:09. The elite men's come through for the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. There's nothing Afrowork Waltonese can do. Dejene Debele has come through again with a 2:09, and Afrowork has come in, and look at that. Berhan Tesfaye with a 2:09.34. Well, that is 10 seconds off his personal best. So a great performance from him, but unfortunately he's not going to be taking away. And that is Belachu Mameta coming through in 5th. But what a fantastic performance from Dejene Debela from Ethiopia. Li Zisheng comes through the finish line. Well, 2:15.10 in the end by official timing, as we just saw. So 10 seconds off that prime spot, but still a very good time for him and China's leading runner. But it certainly doesn't look like she's missed anything. Still could be a good second spot for Medina. Shasho still with that really rock solid pivot of the arms and the shoulders has been carrying her through. Shaso Insermu, one of the big names, has come through, and this will be her 6th title in 10 marathons for the 25-year-old Ethiopian. Fantastic run of events she's had. She's not going to be close to that 2:05.38. Medina is definitely putting a charge in, as you can see here, though. This is the last stretch. No, I stand corrected. Shaso has indeed dropped off the pace. And Medina Armino is coming through now. She's not only going to beat her personal best of 2:29 and put in a sub 2:30, but she has managed to best Shaso Insermu in the last kilometer of the race. for a lot of observers, they would have thought, well, there you go. It looks like that might even be Dong Rojen in front of her. But for a second, that looked like Chasso. So, what a performance! She fell behind in the last 2 kilometers. Looks like she is going to beat her personal best instead of brand new personal best. The wild card for the day, Medino Demi Armino comes through. And Chasso Nsermu in the end comes through second. I'm sure she's going to be happy with that. It was the last kilometer that in the end differentiated both of them. So many changes of the lead in that last part of the race. What a finish in the women's full marathon. That is actually Fantu Jima. So we have 2 of our top runners that have finished in the top 3. Fantu has put in a very good performance in the end and turned up in 3rd spot, managed to keep her mind and wits about her even though she was running in isolation. She hasn't beaten the 2:29, but she has taken 3rd spot at the 2019 C&D Xiamen Marathon. So Medina Armino in top spots, Chasso Nsermu in second, and Fantu Jima in 3rd. The Kenyans tried to stop them, but really were outclassed on this day. There'll be plenty of marathons for the rest of the year for them to compete. Of course, Kenya and Ethiopia, such giants, colossal giants in the marathon scene, long distance running scene in general, but it's 15,000 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers, all the way up to 10K and half marathons and full marathons. These 2 countries have provided and produced some true superstars. But again, for the 2nd year, sprinted into the last kilometer to take the marathon title. And our VIPs hand them their trophies. Fantastic result in the men's division. Wreaths, trophies, prize money. But to be honest, these are things that these elite runners do expect. Really, it's benchmarks, and a 2:09 for this year is a very good time for Eugene Debela, and he'll be looking to increase upon that. I'm sure he'll be back next year to defend his title. Big money, big checks, and that's confirmation of that with a 2:09.25 in the end. Eugene Debela, Afterwork, Walton Say, and Birhan Tesfaye.